Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's see. We've got good stream status. Let's see who's in. I think a lot of you guys were chit-chatting over here already. Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Oops, right, so much it looks like I've lost the beginning of the chat. In. Okay, Spooner Mort, Florcandia, Mandela 108. Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Saturday morning. Right, so much it looks like I've lost the beginning of the chat. Okay, Spooner Mort, Florcandia, Mandela 108 is in. Welcome, QB. Saturday morning. So much Biz Woofer, Susan Gunther Photography, QB is Dark Wolf Sten. Welcome, Shari D. Saturday morning. Kai Lucas Zachary, Biz Woofer, Susan Gunther Photography, QB, Dark Wolf Sten, Maria, Data Junkie. That's who's in so far. Somebody was talking about Virginia Woolf being spelled really weird now. Maria, Data Junkie. There. I've never seen. Somebody was talking about Virginia Woolf apparently being spelled really weird now. Maria, Data Junkie. There. I've never turn myself off. Sorry if you guys are hearing me. All right, here we go. Virginia Woolf. That's the spelling I remember. Possibly had an E on it. W-O-L-F-E, possibly. Certainly did not have double O's. That's the first time I've ever seen wolf spelled like that. Definitely was not W-O-O-L-F. Whoever brought that one up, yes, I agree with you. That is ridiculous. The spellings are getting weirder and weirder. Let's see who came up with that one. That was Bizwoofer. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bizwoofer. Wolf, W-O-O-L-F. I mean, I guess in a weird kind of way it makes sense because it's wool with an F on it, but I have never seen that name spelled like that anywhere. So, interesting. The spellings are just getting weirder and weirder. It used to be there was one way to spell most words, most names, and it was easy to know how to spell their name. You heard their name, you know how to spell it. It's not the case anymore, obviously. Somebody was mentioning that frog that looks like Kermit. Now that one I believe is an older ME. I definitely remember hearing about that on some other channels. I think it was, about a year ago. They found this, supposedly they found this frog that looks like Kermit the Frog. And this is the frog they found there. Yeah, interesting coincidence. All right. Kai Lucas Zachary remembers Virginia Woolf with an E. I think that is how it was. I could swallow either with or without the E, but there's no WFs, no double Fs, that's for sure. And I think you're getting a lag echo because I foolishly left this one running for a bit. I have now stopped it, so I think that should solve it. I don't hear it right away because the way this thing is hooked up, I have to have my headphones on to hear what comes through the speaker. Okay, so you shouldn't have any more echo now. I should have it fixed. Saturday morning. I actually did not get that N on dilemma for me. D-I-L-E-M-M-A. I did not have that weird N, but so many people remember it, so I'm fine with it. But I mean, there's been a million other changes for me. Amethyst has changed. A whole bunch of other ones that other people have mentioned also. So I guess it's just some timelines had the end and N and some didn't. Okay, so what are we up to this week? Okay, I noticed this one. I'm going back to this because this one supposedly, I heard about this last year, but this article looks different for me than what I remember. What I remember is last year around August 2018, they said that they found they verified that there's ice in the deep, deep caverns, deep lower areas of the moon. Okay. But it just seems like lately they've been kind of talking about it in a more blasé fashion. So I wanted to look that up. And so it used to be that it was hypothesized that deep down in the bottom of the craters, maybe there was ice. And that's really only been talked about in the last 5 or 6 years for me. But according to this article, it goes way back. I'm very suspicious I don't think so. It was dry before, but then it was just like maybe, but unlikely. And then last year they said, okay, it's down there. But now it's, they're talking about it like there's a lot more ice than what I remember. With enough ice sitting at the surface within the top few millimeters, water would possibly be accessible as a resource for future expeditions to explore and even stay on the moon. Okay, so they're talking about just a few millimeters down. All right, and this is another interesting part. Ice is more abundant in the south, where it is found principally at the bottoms of permanently shadowed craters. Listen to that, principally at the bottoms of permanently shadowed craters. So not completely, only at the bottom, principally at the bottom. In the north. The stuff is more widely and thinly dispersed. So it's more widely dispersed. It kind of makes it sound like it's not just in the craters. I mean, that might be a stretch on my part, but what I think we're seeing here is that it's not going to be just at the bottoms of craters. In fact, somewhere else I did see, I couldn't find it later, but there was here, that might have been it. Kind of an imagery of all the places that they could see it. They were saying it was very reflective. What I don't really get is if it's so reflective and you could find it in all these places, why they didn't only just find it last year. Now, their argument is that they thought, oh, well, it could be something else besides ice. But I don't know. That just seems really weird to me because they're going around to the other planets and saying they know exactly what all these different minerals are, judging by the spectrometry, the light sources and the exact spectrums and all this stuff. But now we're supposed to believe that they were looking right at ice, but they weren't sure of it this whole time. So I don't know. I'm really suspicious about that. But anyway, I think what we're going to see is more and more water and ice on the moon. So they're already talking about the moon's having the poles, the north and south pole of the moon. Never used to really hear that terminology when I was a kid ever, because the whole moon was just a dry ball and it really didn't matter where you were on it. So anyways, all right, do you want to okay, the bird's tongue. Those are geese. Serrated tongue. Now, I have not encountered every species of goose that there is, but I'll tell you that I have gone down to some parks where they have famously tons of geese and ducks, and I fed them. And, the geese are mean, and they're always trying to scare away all the ducks. And sometimes they even chase the little kids. But I'll tell you one thing, that we would laugh at the little kids because the geese did not have teeth or anything on their flappy little beaks. They would just, and we'd be like, yeah, shut up, you're harmless, get away, kind of push them aside with your foot, nothing. But somewhere along the line, about 2 years ago, I heard they had teeth and they could bite hard. But now they have teeth on their tongues as well. Serrated tongues. This image shows it pretty good. You can see that the teeth are all lined up along here. There's a close-up for you. Ugh. So geese now have teeth on their tongues. They're not the only creature that has teeth on the tongues. They're not really saying that's teeth officially because it's not the same dentin material that mammals have. But what was that word for them? They call it tomium. Same stuff as on the beak. And they're calling it a kind of cartilage. But but it's sharp enough that they could cut grass and stuff with it. So it's fairly sharp, and it is the same thing supposedly as these teeth on the beak. And I did once get chomped by a shorebird when I was a kid, and those teeth are sharp. They're like little needles. I got bit pretty good trying to help this bird once when I was a little kid, and I didn't realize that wild animals don't know that you're trying to help them. So, anyways, these little suckers are they're sharp, and I just remember these being kind of like rubbery serrations when they first showed up, but now they are the same exact material as on the beak. So, very interesting. I suspect some of the other. What the heck is that thing? Oh, it's some kind of weird art. Okay. You never tell these days. So anyways, I suspect that we will see some of the other animals getting weird teeth on the tongue and other places too. You can see there's a lot of weird bumps going on up in here too. Wonder what's developing there. Yeah, they had no teeth, so that's why we were laughing at the kids, because they're like, they can't really hurt you. They're just silly birds. Just, even though they were pushy, they couldn't hurt you. Apparently, people are saying now that they can bite and leave a vicious bite. Now, other birds that had teeth were just a few, and they were shorebirds for me. And they needed them to grab the fish, but they wouldn't come and chomp you. You had to go bug them. So that's what's different about these geese. They're aggressive. Yeah, see, I don't remember geese having teeth, but then I think maybe a year ago, maybe longer, they had teeth, but they didn't have it on the tongue yet. Yeah, I agree. Saturday morning time still speeding up, making me crazy. I'm still having a little trouble remembering what day it is. I think I'm starting to get it sorted out, but the beginning of this week I was still confused, thinking it was a day further on than it really was. But I think I've gotten it about straightened out. It's just weird. I had so much response from that so many people thought it was a day later than it was. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, if they slipped another day in, then we should have all immediately known. So it would have had to have been some kind of brain thing for us not to immediately know. They feel like mini days. Yeah, I know. And I got so much to do, and there's like no time to do it anymore. Has anybody ever been bitten by a fly? No, I've never been bitten by a fly. Um, I've heard that there are huge species of flies that can bite, though. But that's been the last 10 years I've heard that. Ordinary flies, no. Never been bit by ordinary fly. I remember they said it could be a remains of another planet that was destroyed. You mean the moon? Yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of different stories on that one. Okay. Now this one is an old one, but I'm going to bring it back up for a reason, and also there's a tiny little bit of new. But I don't know if you remember, about 8 years or so ago, they started talking about spiders flying on the wind, and that was around the same time that the spiders would make those giant webs, like the communal webs and stuff sometimes, and they were showing, and they'd say they flew on the wind, and then they said they would reel out some spider silk and fly on the silk. And lately they've been saying that somehow they use electromagnetic forces along their silk in order to fly. So this one kind of talks more about that silk, and they're saying that basically it develops a charge by floating in the air. The global atmospheric electric circuit and the resulting atmospheric potential gradient provide an additional force that has been proposed to explain ballooning. And ballooning is when they all put out a web, like some web, and then they fly. Okay, so this article also says that, how old is this article anyways? Yeah, see, interesting. It's a whole year old. I don't remember seeing this one last time. They're saying that when electromagnetic forces are a certain way, spiders are sensitive to it, and that triggers this ballooning behavior. Okay, so you have this spider and basically a long thread of silk, and the spider is using this silk somehow as some kind of a electric. They say the silk is a insulator, so I don't really understand how it works, but somehow the silk is getting a negative charge, I guess, and helping the spider to fly. Okay, so this week they had something on one of the space channels where they were talking about this, and this reminded me of the spider, electrodynamic tether. So supposedly, now I do remember them trying to do a tether once and it breaking, but supposedly there's been a lot of other experiments, and the story is if they dangle this tether, which is like basically a strip of conductive wires, down through the atmosphere, the electromagnetic field of the Earth will charge that tether. Basically, when you have electromagnetic forces moving, it causes a electrical power in the wire itself. So they're basically throwing down electrical line, and then they're letting the Earth's magnetic field charge the line and run the electricity. So I don't know if maybe this is just way more effective in this current reality or what, but supposedly they can get a lot of electricity from this and actually use it to help power, like, say, a space station or a satellite or anything like that. They can actually get power from it, and a lot of power. And it's interesting because I've never heard of this tether concept being used in this fashion until just this week, and it comes after the spider thing. So they're saying they can get a lot of current from it, and then they use that to power the height of the craft and stuff. So they can also do this with balloons. So you know how I don't know if you guys have heard, but they're saying that Google is going to try to float balloons that carry the internet signal, so that distant parts of the Earth can all have internet signal, like everyone will have internet signal. And how are they powering these things? They can power them apparently with these tethers. Which is very interesting. So anyway, I thought that was interesting that you basically have something that showed up that's in a Mandela for many of us, first in the spiders, and now you can see it in the technology. So I just don't think that in the past we had enough, however the physics were, either we didn't know about it, and the spiders showed us the way, or the physics have changed and it's more effective now. But let's see what you guys are talking about. Flying electric spiders. Yep. And I think I did cover that, but it was a while ago, so some of you guys might not have heard of it. I was bitten by a fly type I've never seen before about 2 years ago now. There's a lot of weird stuff out there now. That actually kind of reminds me, I think I've mentioned the story, but there was this weird little snake-like thing that was bright blue. Never had any legs, and I would see it intermittently here over the years. Very, very bright blue. And the last couple years it has legs, little legs, but it has legs. And I kept thinking, how did I miss those legs? You know, I'd even seen dead ones, no legs, and like, I must have missed the legs. But now with the Mandela, I think that they just have legs in this timeline they didn't used to. And also that blue thing, that creature, I spent a lot of time looking online for it. When it did not have legs, I couldn't find a thing, and it was just like a neon electric blue, turquoise color. And so you'd think that that would be online, but I could never find it. But then suddenly it was easy to find once it got the legs. Supposedly it's a kind of skink. Maglev spider. Yeah, I guess it is kind of like that, isn't it? All right, so close that one down. All right, this is another one. You guys might have seen this one. It's just been getting viral the last day or two. Pig brains brought to life 4 hours after death in disturbing experiment. So basically, they tried to keep the pig brains alive by keeping the body temperature up and pumping fluids and stuff. And they're saying that even up to 10 hours after death, EEG scans of the brain showed. Let's see, what was it? Okay. Although EEG scans of the brain showed no signs of consciousness, they were able to find a bunch of neurons firing after 10 hours. It seems surprising that they never knew about this before, but basically they're saying that neurons can live 10 hours after death, which is a bit much. But they didn't get consciousness back. But I don't know. It seems to me like they're kind of opening the door here for just basically coming back to life situations, more like in the Bible where you were dead for a day and then you're not dead. Those kind of things. It really looks like it's they're paving the groundwork here, is what I think. Let's see. I think, what was the name of that skink? Skink. If you're into lizards, you probably heard of skinks. Now, I never heard of skinks being wild in this region originally, but here, this is it. Now, yeah, its legs are getting bigger. Okay. This is such a weird story, and I just wonder if this is how... Oh, there's another one. What? They're another color when they're little now, huh? Oh, that's new. Okay, well, basically you would just see this tail part and like a head. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out because it didn't move like a snake. It really did seem like more of a lizard, like a legless lizard. But I couldn't find anything about any legless lizards. This ridiculous blue color. It looks like the skink part is getting bigger with more feet now. But it was just this part. There was no rest of it. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just, now they're saying the juveniles are this color, which is, I don't know, it's just more ridiculousness. What, they got every color now? Every color of tail in the universe, like rainbow skinks, I guess. But anyway, it was that, you would just see that. But, you know, I got the whole thing a number of times, and I'd see them sitting there. They did not have this whole body part. I think they're trying to make us think that maybe we only saw the tail, but the whole rest of the body was there. But it was not there. I saw them dead. I saw them not moving. There was no freaking body. That's why I spent so much time trying to figure out what they were. So, but now they're this. And the last one I saw did have feet. So I don't know what to say. It's grown. It started out as just the tail only, basically. Let's see what you guys are up. They're primarily in the western U.S. Well, it wasn't. They were just the tail before. They were a tail and a mouth. And I never heard of any local skinks. That's why I was confused what that thing was. All right. Let's see what else. Oh, that's supposed to be the Hong Kong blue-tailed skink, but supposedly, I think they were calling it a racer skink. Racer skink. See if I can find it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It had that. Racer skink. Very close, but not the same. Yeah, this one would be it. But you can see it's got that same ridiculous tail. All right. There we go. Okay, I covered that. I covered the geese. All right, this one's even more creepy. Oh. I mean, the storylines in this timeline. I don't even. All right. You may have heard, I think I did cover it, a story a while back where they said that, and I think this is a Mandela because it is so weird, and I was pretty much into Buddhism and I never heard of it. They were saying, in the last few years, they're saying that some of the Buddhist monks would basically petrify themselves while they were still alive by not eating regular food, and as they got older, they would start eating these weird medicinal foods that would start petrifying them, and then they would become like a mummy, and then they'd finally die, but their body would be preserved. Okay. So that was about as weird as it got until I saw this. So now they're basically saying that they get a human, and sometimes they may even eat honey before they die, and if they eat honey for a while, but that not always will they do that. And then they take when the person dies, they put the corpse in honey, and then supposedly the honey and the corpse would all mix, and then after like 100 years, you would eat the corpse with the honey, and it was supposed to be medicinal or something. And it's called Mellified man. Honey saturated person is a modern pseudonym. Anyways, I don't know. I mean, there's not a ton of evidence for it, but they're portraying it as likely, probably true. But I've just never heard of anything like that. It's just gross. Anyway, so I wanted to bring that one up. All right. I saw this one, close to a week ago. I can't imagine they would really do this without a big uproar. In my old timeline, there'd be a big stink about morality, but scientists put human gene into monkeys to make them smarter and human-like. So apparently they're supposedly spliced some human DNA into these monkeys. They became more human-like, got smarter, superior memories compared to unaltered monkeys. Much jokes about Planet of the Apes and all that. Some called it reckless. A few scientists raised concerns calling it reckless. The use of transgenic monkeys to study human genes linked to brain evolution is a very risky road to take. It's a classic slippery slope issue and one that we cannot expect to occur at this type of research is pursued. Yeah, I don't know. There hasn't been much stink about this. Lots of jokes about Planet of the Apes, but that's about it. I just can't, they didn't even want to use like stem cells from naturally harvested stem cells for research. There was a big stink about that, yet they're splicing human DNA into monkeys and growing them up. Anyways, slippery slope indeed. I suspect we're going to see more of that stuff. Wasn't there a movie about why this is a bad idea? Yeah, that was Planet of the Apes. Actually, was a famous TV show for a long time before it became a movie. Way back, you have to be kind of old. Not a terrible TV show for its time either. All right. All right, this is a big one from Retconned, got a lot of attention. Despite the name sea lion, many of us do not remember sea lions actually having a mane like a lion. I think this one here, this is a lesser version. This one is the California sea lions. I don't remember them having kind of that weird furry tuft on their head, but they're not as extreme as some of the other sea lions. I actually used to wonder why they called them sea lions, but apparently now they're named after their lion-like mane of fur. Now, this is not just a wet sea lion and it's dry on the top. It has a mane. And some of them are getting more of a mane than others. Some are getting really big mane of fur on the top half. But it's getting more prominent in them. Somebody just noticed this. This was, who was it that noticed this? The username is Finger Swipes. Look at that. It looks wrong. I think their nose is much more pressed in to me now, too. I just remember them having a nose more like the female ones. South American. Almost all of them are getting some kind of a furry mane now. Look at how furry that one is. A lot of the animals are getting fur. Cows, pigs, just really furry. See how the face is? That it's more dog-like or something. It's mashed in. I don't remember the face being like that. Male South American sea lion. That is just not right. Some of these I never even heard of. I'm really suspicious they're new species too. This one. Look at that face. It's just not right. So you can see how mashed in the face looks compared to the females, which is more streamlined like I'm used to seeing them. See, look at the mane on that one. All right, so anyway, sea lions I call baloney. They did not have manes before. Gonna have breathing problems. Yeah, I don't know. Nature is pretty inventive, so... Yeah, it looks like people don't remember the manes. Of course, you always got the skeptics saying, well, that's what they were named for, sea lions. So, no, not in my old timeline. Look at this one with this funky flat top. They did not have that, and we have a ton of sea lions around here. They did not have this little flat top haircut. So the California sea lions seem to have the least amount of mane, but I don't remember their face being so dog-like, and they did not have a funky tuft on the top of their head. All right. All right, I had this on one before, but it is growing, and that is the people that can turn their head around all the way. So this one made the Reddit rounds. Let's see if we can get there. So now there's two of them. We saw one kid that could turn his head all the way around. I'm going to jump forward here if I can. Oh, doesn't look like I can do it. All right, so these kids are pretty flexible, obviously. But at the end, we're going to get two of these kids that turn their heads around backwards and then jiggle their butts. All right, so we got two of them now. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. It just seems like it's growing, the head turner people. And just they're, it used to be called double jointed. Now they're calling it hypermobility. All right, let's see. All right, another image I've never seen before. There's something behind the clouds, a super thin crescent daylight moon with a crescent Venus photo. All right, so apparently you can see a crescent Venus now. Venus is big enough that you can see it, not just as a light, but as a daytime crescent. So this is supposed to be the crescent of the moon. And right next to it, this little thing is a crescent of Venus. Now, we couldn't see planets in the daytime at all when I was, in my old timeline 10 years ago. You would not see a crescent of Venus. So obviously this is quite blown up here, but this is a daytime photo taken of crescent of Venus now. Don't think so. All right, another one I wanted to talk about is there's just kind of a personal story. There's been a number of stories on Redcon lately, and a few places that, like two stories of people that somebody, but their whole appearance has changed. Like they are a different height. They're totally different. Not just a little bit of changes like we've all seen in our faces, a lot of us have. But just they look like a whole different person, but they're going by the same name. They know you, and they have, she's your teacher from last year. You don't see her for a year, and then all of a sudden she looks totally different, but she's still going by her same name. She has her same office, and she remembers having you in her class. So you're pretty sure that's her, but she just looks totally different, kind of a thing. There's been a couple of those. I have not experienced that myself, but I'm hearing more about it. But one I did experience this week, I was talking about somebody who had cancer, and I was talking to my coworker, and she said, she had cancer. That's the cancer she had last year. It was a nasty, soft tissue, high-grade cancer. And she said, I had that last year. I'm like, what? Because, she's been working there a few years, and she didn't take any time off to have. So she pulls up her pants, and on her ankle is this long red line, which is where they pulled out that cancer, I guess. And you can tell it wasn't that long ago. It's still very red. And so she's telling me that she had cancer last year and took time off and had it removed, and that's the scar. And I even asked her, I'm like, did I know about it? Like, she's not the type to hide stuff. She's, she likes to complain about her illnesses, so I don't think she would. But just to make sure, I asked, and she said, of course I told you. So I'm supposedly knew about this. I don't know. That did not happen in my timeline. That's all I'm going to say. She did not take time off to get it removed in my timeline. I certainly wouldn't forget a coworker having a high grade nasty cancer. Now, in my timeline, what I remember is she had some intestinal infection, and it was having trouble going away. And then she was worried about it being cancer, but it wasn't. It went away, and there was no cancer. and that was it. And she took like 1 or 2 days off because she wasn't feeling too good. And that was it. There was no ankle cancer. So that's just a trip. I don't know. There's a trip. It's been a lot of Emmys this last few weeks. And sometimes when there's a lot of Emmys, I just feel like, But that was one. I'm like, so I look like an idiot now because I have forgotten her. She had a horrible, nasty, scary cancer last year, and I forgot, apparently. But, all right, got that one. Been seeing a lot of these things with elephantiasis. This example of it. Supposedly, this bear has a problem with elephantiasis in its tongue. You can see it's one of them goofy sun bear things that did not exist in my old timeline. So his tongue keeps getting bigger. They had a surgery, but then it grew back. He had another surgery. I don't know how you can survive with the tongue dangling around like this, but so that's creepy in itself. Saw that on Reddit. I've been seeing a lot of images of humans with really large elephant parts, basically. And so I looked up elephantiasis. Is the enlargement and hardening of limbs or body parts due to tissue swelling. It is characterized by edema, hypertrophy, and fibrosis of the skin. Okay, so they're saying that lymphatic vessels are obstructed. Now, I could see if the lymphatic vessels are obstructed, you'll have swelling, right? But this is beyond swelling because these people are growing like more skin, and the skin is hard like that. This guy has. That's not just a swollen tongue, because if your tongue swelled that much, it would just pop. I mean, it has grown a whole giant ton of flesh has grown here. It does not look like a water balloon. It looks like a hugely grown tongue. So I don't know what the story is here, but they're saying basically that some kind of viruses or germs can cause a blockage of the lymph fluids, and then it causes this elephantiasis. But if you look at the images, a lot of them are I just don't see how it gets that big just by swelling. That it's growing flesh. I mean, tissue is growing. So there's a lot of creepy examples of it. They just was very rare thing. I mean, this is not just from swelling here, okay? The whole leg is way too big. It's too long for the child. It's not, you can't just say that's swelling. It's grown all that flesh. It just doesn't make sense to me. Here's another one. It just does not make sense to me. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to point that one out because the storylines it just seems like they're getting flimsy or something. Nose like a lion. Yeah, you're right, Nana. It is a nose like a lion on those sea lions. Dang, it looks like chat has froze. I'm going to reboot it. Sometimes it just doesn't show up any new chats for a long time. All right, here we go. Got you. Oh, kind of a minor one, but one I just noticed. I've been watching this for a while. The cheetah lines on the face keep growing longer and longer. All right, so it used to just come down like here. Now the lines on the face, they're cool looking. They come all the way down and underneath the snout. And I'm seeing lines develop over here. And there's something also here, but there's a lot of lines. So we're going to get more lines on the cheetah's face for sure. Look, see here? So that goes all the way down. I wonder if that one is sneezing or if it's a CGI or something. See, there's a side view. It used to just come out about there. Now it's come down here. It's coloring part of the lip. And I saw this actually on my, you know how Bing has the different screensavers every day. Watch those screensavers because there's a lot of MEs that get introduced in those daily screensavers. A lot of MEs. Interesting. There's the wallpaper. Where's the lines on the face on this wallpaper? So yeah, I've never seen it come down that far before. Very cool. Also, that's another point. I'm seeing some black on the back of the ears. Do not remember cheetahs having black on the back of the ears. So yeah, really cool. Look at the depth of those lines. That really shows it right there. So I think we're going to get lines over here also. Very beautiful, but also watch your animals because I've got this gray cat, and his gray patterns are. He's just this boring mute gray tabby type cat, but I've noticed that his nose is getting very silver now, and his paws are lightening up here so that he's getting white, and then underneath is turning very dark gray. So he used to just be an ordinary tabby, but now he's got these interesting colors that are slowly developing. Also, I've noticed this in animals in this timeline. A fair number of them have like kind of a ring pattern all the way around the neck. I'm seeing it in like Malamute dogs. In my cat, he did not used to have like a necklace of color all the way around. The other thing I'm seeing a ton of that I do not remember ever seeing 10 years ago, and I'm seeing a ton of them now, is dogs and cats with two different colors on their nose. It used to be that their nose was either like a black, a pink, or maybe a brownish tone, but they were all one. But a lot of them now will have like maybe pink in the middle and black on the edges, or like that. Very common this timeline. Never saw that before. Even if they were a mottled color, their nose would just be one color, but not anymore. Oh, you're talking about definitely. That one's a flip-flop speller for me. Let's see. It used to be define it. It was. All right, let me see what it is. Define it, Ellie. That was how it was for me. All right, so it's a flip-flopper. This is my original, because I would call it define it Ellie. That's how Ellie, like it would be in the name Ellie. And that's how I remembered how to spell it. That was my mnemonic for spelling it since I was a kid. And it stopped working and it turned into define Italy. And you had to have an A here. So you couldn't define it because it would be define 8, which doesn't work. So it was A for quite some time, and then it switched back over. This is my original now. We're back to my original for me. But yeah, that one, when you have mnemonics that you've been using for like 30 or 40 years to spell something, and then suddenly they don't work and they're wrong, that will make you crazy. Here's another one that changed for me. used to be amethyst. And I would remember it because of the name Amy. Amy loves amethyst. Amethyst. That's how it was spelled. And so when I write, I sell amethyst too. So when I write the product name, I just write Amy on it. Amy. But now, and this was a rather older shift a few years ago. Now, Amy is not the shorthand version. Now it's the E is here and the Y is there. So now it's amethyst with an E here and a Y there. That's one I know changed. People probably, that one's really easy to confuse, but I had a mnemonic for it. It was Amy, A-M-Y. Thunder eggs, like a geode. Thunder eggs are old for me. I'm an old rock hound. Basically, it's a geode, but they're solid centers. So if they have open centers, they're called geode. And if they're solid center, they're a thunder egg. So people get them confused all the time, though. But they are not old for me. Basically, they're a geode that doesn't have a pocket inside. So it'll be all agate. Let's see. Thunder egg. So they look the same like this on the outside. You won't know until you cut it. And you cut them open. Like this would be a thunder egg. It's just all agate inside. That's a better example there. Now, if there was a little pocket of air in here, then they would call it a geode, or a big pocket of air. Then it's a geode. But if there's no pockets, thunder egg. Sometimes you can tell by weight. So this one technically is a geode. It's got a little pocket. But they're basically the same thing otherwise. Another geode has a pocket. Geode has pocket. Geode. 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 Okay, what are we up to now? Got that one, got that one. Oh, I'm almost done. I don't have that many this time. Still have not heard back from Bob Bobertson. I don't know if he's on our timeline anymore. I do remember he was sick. Right around when I got really sick this last time, I didn't hear from him anymore. So I hope he's okay wherever he is in. All right. One last Mandela for me. All right, I remember the restaurant In and Out. That was my restaurant. But here it's in out with an N. Not my timeline. In and out burger. I think the logo looks about right for me, but I remember that being an and, A-N-D, out. And I used to eat here a ton, so it was really close to my old work. Oh, there, look. Oh, okay. May refer to blah, blah, blah. All right. In and out. Yeah, nope. Not for me. In, out. I know it's confusing. In, out. It's in and out. It's I don't know if you all have it, but it's a real popular burger joint. No, Bob Robertson did not have a channel. He would just comment on my channel all the time. He just contributed a lot of the Mandelas. he knew history a lot, and he noticed a lot of history changes too. He just caught a lot of them. I didn't put every one up that he saw, but you will find in my older videos back like 3 weeks and earlier, there were a lot of comments from him on different Mandelas. And I remember once he said, that he was pretty much bedridden, so he would just spend his time, surfing the net, looking for Mandelas and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe he just didn't make this last shift. I do wonder, when we get sick, is it because we're shifting? I mean, is sickness even what we ever always thought it was? Or maybe it used to be more conventional, but now it's not? It just seems like every time I get sick, then there's a crap load of shifting at the same time. So, I don't know. Well, anyways, a very quick one for me. I went through them all quickly. You guys have not contributed a giant horde of them like you usually do, just a few. And I am pretty sleepy, so I'm probably just going to make this an hour-long one in a small miracle and shut it off here. Sorry, guys, if you didn't get all your chit-chats in. But I'm sleepy, so I think I'm going to cut out here. Let's see. Remember how to do it. I'll do it on this other computer. All right, so thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline. Thank you.